welcome to the Hurricane Preparedness Week in North Carolina and the continuation of the 2017 Hurricane Hunter Aircraft Tour here in Raleigh. I'm Jason Franklin, meteorologist in charge at the National Weather Service in Raleigh, and on behalf of the entire Raleigh team, it is our pleasure to help sponsor the Hurricane Hunter Tour here at RDU. I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce our guests and thank everyone for joining us today. We're pleased to have with us today North Carolina's Governor Roy Cooper, Dr. Rick Knabb, Director of the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Secretary Eric Hooks, Head of the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, David Novak, Director of NOAA's Weather Prediction Center, Leslie Chapman Henderson, CEO of Federal Alliance for Safe Homes, Christy Van Auken, RDU's Vice President for Communications and Community Relations, Gracia Check, FEMA Region 4 Administrator, and Mike Sprayberry, Director for North Carolina Emergency Management. The entire state of North Carolina is no stranger to the effects of tropical storms and hurricanes. In fact, it's not a matter of if the state will be impacted by such storms, but when. North Carolina typically sees at least 2 non-landfalling tropical systems that affect the state within a 150-mile radius from the center of the storm. And the average number of years between direct landfalling tropical systems is 2 years. Some notable storms: Hurricane Matthew last October, Hurricane Floyd from 1999, Hurricane Fran from 1996. We can't forget Hurricane Hugo in the western part of the state back in 1989. And going way back, 1954, over 63 years ago, was Hurricane Hazel. So I'd like to take a quick moment to thank Governor Roy Cooper for taking time to come here this morning, for supporting hurricane awareness, and for recognizing the importance of preparation and strong relationships in order to help us build a weather-ready nation. Governor.
Thanks so much. What we're doing today can save lives. Making sure that families, businesses are ready for the next hurricane is critical. And to have these school groups here who take information back home to their parents, that's a positive thing. And I'm looking forward to getting on that Hurricane Hunter plane, not in the hurricane, but while it's on the ground. I look forward to that. Our state knows all too well how important it is to take hurricane and hurricane preparedness seriously. Today marks 7 months since Hurricane Matthew pummeled North Carolina, causing 1,000-year flooding and washing away communities in the central and eastern part of our state. This storm was so bad that there will be no other storms named Matthew. Matthew did an estimated $4.8 billion in damages to 50 counties in North Carolina. That's half of our entire state. Communities, businesses, farmers, and families are still recovering, and we are pushing to get them the help that they need. But too many people still cannot return to their homes, can't return to their offices, their schools, farms, or their places of worship due to damage done by Matthew. Our most critical needs are housing, so that families have an affordable and safe place to live, and repairs to public buildings and other infrastructure so communities can get back to business. We've had some strong work done by state and federal officials in helping families, and I'm grateful for the work that is done thus far. But I am deeply disappointed that Washington isn't making North Carolina's urgent need a top priority. We got together with our local congressional delegation, even pared down the needs that we were going to ask for. And we asked Congress for a conservative $930 million as part of the recent continuing resolution process. And our state's congressional delegation worked hard in the process. But President Trump and the congressional budget included only $6.1 million, shockingly less than what is needed, less than 1% of the request. I have invited the President and congressional leaders to come to North Carolina so they can see for themselves what it will take to get these communities to recover and to rebuild. Now, we're here today to talk about preparing for future storms. But I think it's important for us to see the devastation that one of these storms can cause and the financial loss that communities can experience and what it does to everyday people. And it's important for leaders, all the way from local government leaders to the President of the United States, to come and talk with people directly who have been affected so that they can know what damage has been done. Now, our experience with hurricanes shows that we need to be ready to weather the next storm. And I want to thank all of our partners at the National Hurricane Center in Miami for their diligence, dedication, and professionalism in predicting some of Mother Nature's most difficult disasters. Not only do they provide official forecasts, but their staff work closely with local weather service offices to help state and local officials understand the potential impacts to our communities. I also want to recognize and to thank the meteorologists at the 7 National Weather Service offices that serve North Carolina for their amazing work and their timely forecasts on a daily basis. We have 2 people here in North Carolina who are working hard, who've been introduced. Our Secretary of the Department of Public Safety, Eric Hooks, and you're going to hear in a minute from the Director of our Emergency Management, Mike Sprayberry. But our emergency management, our transportation officials, and our school officials work closely with the National Weather Service here. And they are part of our state emergency response team, not only when hurricanes threaten, but also during winter storms, tornadoes, flooding, and other weather disasters. And we appreciate their dedication to keeping North Carolina safe. Our focus today and throughout the week is on hurricane preparedness. In a few minutes, Management Director Mike Sprayberry is going to tell you a little bit about what the state is doing to get ready for the hurricane season and what individual families can do and should do to get ready. For we know that those who prepare better for emergencies are likely to fare better during emergencies. And I want to remind everyone that while the official hurricane season officially runs from June the 1st through November the 30th, hurricanes can strike at any time. In fact, the first hurricane of the 2016 season was in January, and the second one was in May. We all need to know the risks. Don't be fooled into thinking that hurricanes are only a threat to the coast. Every county in our state has been impacted by tropical storms. Hurricanes that form in the Gulf Coast can drench our mountains with rain, causing devastating flooding and mudslides. And as we saw last year, the coastal plains in the central part of North Carolina, not the coast, bore the brunt of Hurricane Matthew. All North Carolinians can be impacted by hurricanes. And the biggest impact is from flooding, not wind. Hurricane categories based on wind speed aren't necessarily telling of what's going to happen. Every storm is dangerous, and every storm should be taken seriously. I want to thank Dr. Knabb for bringing your staff to North Carolina as part of your National Hurricane Hunter Tour. And we're grateful for your continued support and partnership in keeping our communities and streets safe when tropical storms threaten. You have a fantastic team, and we're thankful to be a part of the Preparedness team. And Ms. Van Oken, thank you and RDU for hosting the aircraft and helping us promote emergency preparedness. I hope everybody enjoys the tour today, and we are grateful for all of the hard work that everyone is doing. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Governor. We could not have offered the Hurricane Hunter Tour without help from our aviation partners at Raleigh-Durham International Airport. On behalf of the entire NOAA team, thank you, RDU, for being such gracious hosts. They truly get the emergency preparedness. In fact, they are one of only 5 airports in the country to have earned the National Weather Service Storm Ready certification status. Now I'd like to call on Christy Van Auken, who serves as Vice President for Communications and Community Affairs for RDU. Ms. Van Auken joined the Airport Authority last August, and while she may be the newest member of the leadership team, word has it, she already is making quite the impact. Ms. Van Auken.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to RDU. Governor Cooper, thank you so much for coming. Esteemed guests, this is really a delightful occasion for us as we're able to welcome all of our partners that work so hard day in and day out to ensure the safe passage of travelers, whether there's a storm or not. So welcome to RDU. Also, all of our friends in the media. There are many of you from outside markets, and we are delighted you're here. We hope you feel warmly welcomed. On behalf of the Raleigh-Durham International Airport, our President and CEO, Michael Langeth, and our Airport Authority Board, it is my privilege to represent our beautiful airport and the 350 airport team members who work day in and day out to ensure your safe passage through RDU. We here, as part of the airport family, are certainly familiar with the devastating effects of hurricanes. In 1996, Hurricane Fran passed directly over this very airfield, bringing hurricane-force winds and devastation to our region. Since then, we've seen the firsthand likes of Floyd, Isabel, Matthew, and countless other smaller tropical storms. And in 2005, we received medical evacuees from Hurricane Katrina, patients that were in urgent need of medical care at one of our exceptional hospitals here in the Triangle. Today, we are proud to host this fantastic event to help educate residents about the potential harms these storms can cause our community, to urge you to be prepared as hurricane season will soon again be upon us. That's one reason why we are so proud to be a National Weather Service storm-ready community, one of only a handful of airports across the country that have worked hard to receive this designation. I'd like to thank the National Weather Service for showcasing its beautiful C-130 here at our General Aviation Terminal. And I'd like to thank the emergency responders who are here day in and who are ready to jump in at any time and when needed. Your work is truly remarkable, and we are proud to support it now and when the storms come. Thank you. Thank you again.
Dr. Rick Knabb has served as the director of the National Hurricane Center for the past 5 years, but he's worked in many roles across the agency. He was a science and operations officer and senior hurricane specialist at the National Hurricane Center and deputy director for NOAA's Pacific Hurricane Center out in Honolulu. He also has worked as a hurricane expert for the Weather Channel in Atlanta and will be rejoining them very soon. This marks Dr. Knabb's last week as Hurricane Center director, and we cannot thank him enough for his leadership, guidance, and ingenuity. Dr. Knabb.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much to each and every one of you for being here today. You know, last year at about this time, we were doing our Gulf Coast Hurricane Awareness Tour, and the stop was in San Antonio, Texas. And as soon as I started doing the media interviews there, right off the bat, the questions were, what in the world are you doing talking about hurricanes and having a hurricane awareness tour this far inland? And of course, it was a very intentional decision to take the awareness tour to an inland location to highlight the inland effects of tropical storms and hurricanes. I'm going to predict that today I'm not going to get that question as often as I did last year, because I think you know full well here in North Carolina that it's not just about the coast. It's not just inland, it's the entire state, as the governor said. And Governor, thank you so much for welcoming us to your state. For your remarks are spot on. It's every citizen, every visitor to the state of North Carolina that is hurricane vulnerable. And again, not just coastal, not just inland, not just wind, but water as well. And I hope that we are able to tell the stories of North Carolina far and wide, because many people around the country, in fact around the world, can learn from what you all have been through, not just in Matthew, but in many past storms and hurricanes. We are all saddened by the loss of life during Matthew, and we all wish you all very well in the ongoing recovery. But I hope that we can all take the time and the effort to collectively tell the stories about what has happened in North Carolina so that other people may learn and may benefit. Now, I'm not usually in the business of telling the folks in the media how to write their stories, except I'm doing it right now. I would really like you to all help us spread the word, not just throughout North Carolina, but throughout the country, about how dangerous water is. We collectively in the United States and in other parts of the world, we're not afraid enough of water. Water kills. And unfortunately, we've run the numbers. And 9 out of 10 fatalities in U.S. landfalling tropical cyclones in the last several decades have been due to water. The leading killer historically overall by the numbers has been storm surge in coastal regions. And of course, North Carolina is very vulnerable to that hazard. Number 2 on the list is the inland flooding caused by heavy rainfall. And we also lose too many people at the beach and on boats. And yes, wind can be damaging and deadly, and people tend to think of hurricanes and tropical storms as a big wind machine, but we've got to get everybody fully aware of how dangerous, how heavy, how deadly water can be. Now, we have it within our power, with some of the people you see here today, to continue to improve on keeping people safe from water and the wind, of course. First, I want to thank Mike Sprayberry, Director of Emergency Management here in North Carolina, for his long-time partnership and friendship. And he has worked with us over the last many years, as many of us in the Weather Service and Emergency Management and the media have gotten together to roll out new storm surge graphics that were operational last year, and the new operational National Weather Service Storm Surge Watch and Warning that will roll out this year. So we've made a lot of progress on storm surge, but I think the next big thing to tackle is products and warnings and communication mechanisms and public outreach and education that focus on the inland flood hazard. And I want to highlight someone who is here, my good friend Dave Novak from the Weather Prediction Center, WPC, one of our sister centers of the National Hurricane Center. And he and I were working side by side, even though in different cities. He's in the DC area, to get out the word and to do decision support through the Hurricane Liaison team at the Hurricane Center during Matthew last year when we talked to North Carolina. And we have already talked about new ways that we can come up with to better highlight the inland flood threat in real time when the hurricane's approaching. But also want to highlight the fact that it's not just about improving the real-time forecasts, warnings, and products. It's about the public outreach and education. And Leslie Chapman-Henderson from the Federal Alliance for Safe Homes, FLASH, is here today, a longtime valuable partner of the National Weather Service. She and I and many, many others have been working together to get the word out about the inland flood hazard, turn around, don't drown, get flood insurance. And she has leveraged a lot of her partners. BASF is here today. State Farm is here today. There are so many partners that are multiplying the forces that we have to get out there and educate people on the dangers of water as well as wind. Thank you for helping us get the word out. And one last thing I'll leave you with is that if people wait until the last minute to get ready for the next hurricane, as the governor said we need to do, then it's going to be a lot more difficult, expensive, if not impossible, to do those things. Don't wait till the last minute. We talk about being hurricane strong by planning for evacuation, getting your supplies before hurricane season, updating your insurance, including for flood, strengthening your home. And if you have the means to do all those things, when you're done doing those things, you go out and help your neighbor. And if the brave men and women who fly these planes into and around hurricanes are willing to do that for us to keep us safe, the least we can do is get ourselves ready and all be hurricane strong. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for helping us get the word out. Thank you to the local weather service office for planning this event. Thank you to the airport folks, the emergency managers. A lot of work went into this to make this happen today, and it's going to be fun, and thank you for helping us get the word out.
Okay, and there is a strong link between meteorologists and emergency managers since so many of our disasters are weather-related. The National Weather Service in Raleigh is fortunate to have a great working relationship with the state's Emergency Management Division and staff. As Director of North Carolina Emergency Management, Mike Sprayberry understands and appreciates the role of the local National Weather Service offices as well as the National Hurricane Center. Mike Sprayberry.
Thank you, Jason. All right. Good morning, and Jason, thank you for supporting emergency management as well as all our National Weather Service partners, as well as our great FEMA partner over there, Ms. Gracia Check. But I think we can all see that Dr. Knabb is pretty passionate, and he was having to hold it back a little bit there. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank him publicly for his leadership and vision over the last, I guess, 5 or so years that he's been at the National Hurricane Center. We truly appreciate it from the heart, and we're going to miss you, sir. And you are a good friend. We appreciate it. Got 3 messages here for you. Number 1, it only takes one hurricane. I know that we're all glued to the television, the radio, the media, to see what the predictions are for 2017, the hurricane season. Are there going to be a lot of hurricanes? Is it going to be a normal year or a minimal year? I will tell you, and you all know this, it only takes one hurricane to hit you to make a difference. So you need to be prepared. You need to be situationally aware, following through the media, looking at the weather all the time. So it only takes one storm to make that difference. So that's my first message to you. The second message that I want to tell you is that I'm probably speaking a little bit too loud, so we need to make sure that being prepared for emergencies begins at home. And so I will tell you there's 3 things that you need to do. You need to make a plan, and you need to make sure that the people in your family know that plan. Where are you going to go if you have to evacuate? Where's the nearest shelter? Make sure that you're following instructions from all of your local officials. Choose an emergency contact, but just don't you know it. Your entire family needs to know it. You need to update or to build an emergency kit. And that needs to include everything from water, canned food, medicines, important papers, things like that, because you don't want to get caught like the governor said, like Rick said, Dr. Knabb, you've got to be prepared. Third thing is, got to stay informed. I mentioned it just a second ago. We need the media's help to keep all of our folks informed as to what the track of the hurricane is and what types of weather, not just for hurricanes, but really all hazards. So we encourage everybody to really track the media, listen to the radio, watch TV to understand what's happening out there. And I can tell you a way that you can do that is you can download the Ready NC app to your smartphone, which goes to iPods or Androids, and you can track everything from evacuation routes to open shelters, and you can see how to do a good plan for all types of hazards, and you can also track the weather. So download your Ready NC app. I would encourage you to do it today so that you're ready for the future. Last thing I want to talk about is the state. We're not just standing ready or standing by idly to wait for the hurricane season to come. We are working very diligently to make sure that we're ready. What are the things that we're doing? Even though we are decisively engaged with Hurricane Matthew recovery, as the governor spoke of, we've already had a 2-day statewide hurricane exercise. We are going to meet in a couple of weeks at East Carolina University with first responders, emergency managers, academicians, to discuss all things hurricane. So we're getting ready in that way. That's on the 24th of May, so we encourage you to attend that. Coming up in June, we're going to have all the bases, the military bases, coming to the state EOC to talk about how we work together with the Department of Defense during hurricane emergencies and other emergencies as well. So we are working hard. We are training monthly with Hilo Aquatic Rescue Training, Swiftwater Rescue Training, Wilderness Search and Rescue, to make sure that we can get out there and rescue people if they need it. We had over 2,300 rescues back during Hurricane Matthew, so we have a very robust program. So I want to let you know that under the leadership and the guidance of Governor Cooper and Secretary Hooks, to which I would like to thank you for your support and for your leadership, we are making these preparations now to make sure that come 1 June, we'll be ready to go. So thank you so much for your support. And once again, thank you so much, Dr. Knapp, for bringing the Hurricane Hunter here. We were hoping it would make it here this year. It has, and I can tell you, we sit in the state EOC when there's hurricanes out there, and we wait for these reports from the Hurricane Hunter flying into the storm, and it helps us make our plans to how we respond to what's coming up. So thank you so much, and thank your team, and thanks, Jason.
Thank you all for joining us today. Would you like to take? Yes. Yeah. Okay. And so we're glad to take any questions.
Governor Cooper? Yeah. If you could say something to the President about the relief you need, what is the most important relief you need?
I was shocked and disappointed to see the paltry amount of money that was appropriated out of a $930 million request that was conservative. Only $6.1 million was approved in this continuing resolution. What we need is help with affordable housing to get people safe, affordable places to live. We need help with infrastructure. We need help with our small businesses and our public buildings. And I would invite the President and congressional leaders to come to North Carolina to see the devastation that Hurricane Matthew has caused. And I think it's important for us too to remember this devastation when we're talking about preparedness, and that's what this is about today.
Governor, have you heard back yet from the White House about your request?
We've just extended that request when we found out about it, so we extended it last night through a letter. We have not heard back, but I certainly hope that he will come and look at this, and I hope that congressional leaders will come as well. Our local delegation in Congress is working hard on this, and I want to commend them for their hard work, but I know they were disappointed as well.
As you know, sir, the President might be a little preoccupied. What if he doesn't come in the near future?
Well, I think it's important for people to see hands-on what the damage can be, and it's important for leaders to do that. So we hope that this would be something that he could see, and that there were other states that asked for help as well that were turned down essentially as North Carolina was in this continuing resolution. So this is not just a North Carolina problem, it's a national problem. And in the past, the federal government has been much more helpful. For example, with Hurricane Floyd, the federal government appropriated significant amounts to help North Carolina recover. And I know it has done so across the country. And it's been important to have help with FEMA, and it's been important to have our federal partners here. But now we've got long-term recovery, and we do need help from the federal government.
Director Knapp, if I may. Do you have what you need to keep people safe from the federal government?
The National Hurricane Center, the National Weather Service, all part of NOAA. We are fully ready to deliver on our mission this year, as are the NOAA and Hurricane Hunter planes that you see behind us. Every year we go through an annual operating planning process, and we will do that year after year, making the case for what we need, but for this year, we are ready to go.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.